Hey everyone, and to all of my Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, and to all of my totally rocking awesome dudes and dudettes. It's your girl Claire again, and welcome back to another video on my channel, and hope that you're all doing well. So yeah, government set up plans to tackle COVID in England this winter. Social distancing rules across the UK have been eased, with Northern Ireland the latest to make changes. Under the government's winter plan, autumn and winter plan, COVID booster jabs are being offered to about 30 million people, including the over 50s, younger adults with health conditions and frontline health and social care workers. Healthy 12 to 15-year-olds being offered a single dose, and unvaccinated people are being encouraged to get jabbed. Plan A also includes encouraging free flu vaccine take-up and reminding people to let in first serve, for meeting indoors and to wear face coverings in crowded places. Says the government can use Plan B, including compulsory face coverings in some settings, asking people to work from home, introducing vaccine passports. Will meet a plus social distancing guidance remains in place. Face coverings no longer required by law, but the government expects and recommends them in crowded and closed spaces. Some shops and transport operators still require masks. Anyone with COVID symptoms must self-isolate for 10 days. People who've been working from home should return to the workplace gradually. Up to 15 people from 4 households can mix indoors. No need for advance tickets or allocated seating. Live performance from 6 p.m. on the 30th of September. Social distancing limits will be lifted in shops, indoor seated venues and indoor visitor attractions, although face coverings will remain compulsory. Social distancing and hospitality settings will remain. Shops and indoor attractions are asked to continue using hand sanitizing, good ventilation, and one-way systems. Indoor seated venues such as theatres, concert halls and cinemas advised to ask for proof of double vaccination or a negative lateral flow test, but this is not legally enforceable. Face coverings mandatory on public transport unless you're exempt. Work from home if possible. Dancing not permitted at indoor venues. Nightclubs remain closed. Physical distancing will remain in healthcare settings. Face covering still compulsory in public transport and inside places like shops. Indoor hospitality venues must collect customer details. Work from home whenever possible. Face coverings remain compulsory on public transport. And in shops and hospitals, but not bars or restaurants. College and secondary school staff and students should keep testing regularly. Face masks no longer advised in schools, but still recommended in private spaces like school buses. From the 11th of October, people will need to use their NHS COVID pass to show they've been vaccinated. Social distancing rules, which were a key part in the fight against COVID, coming to an end. However, some rules remain in place wherever you are. Almost all legal restrictions have been lifted on the number of people can meet at home in public place, whether indoors or outdoors. Capacity limits at private or public events no longer apply. There's no legal requirement to wear a face covering in closed spaces, but government says it expects and recommends people wear them in crowded areas such as public transport. Most rules on social distancing and limits to the size of gatherings have now been lifted. However, distancing is still required in healthcare settings, such as hospitals and doctor surgeries. The law does not require people to keep a certain distance from each other in most public places, but advice remains to keep a safe distance from those in other households, especially indoors, and to avoid crowded places. Face coverings are still compulsory in most public indoor settings, such as shops and public transport, as well as pubs and restaurants not seated. And in schools for at least the first 6 weeks of term, staff will still be required to keep at least a metre apart from each other and from children. Formal social distancing rules came to an end in Wales on the 7th of August. There's no limit to the number of people who meet indoors or outdoors. Face coverings remain compulsory in most indoor public places and on public transport, but not in pubs or restaurants. They will no longer be recommended for use in classrooms from September after the end of summer holidays. There's no requirement to socially distance outside. A maximum of 15 people from classes can meet indoors, but social distancing of at least a metre must be followed in indoor premises from 6 p.m. on the 30th of September. Social distancing limits will be lifted in shops, indoor seated venues and indoor attractions, although face coverings will still be compulsory. Social distancing will remain in hospitality settings. Shops and indoor attractions will be able to continue using hand sanitizing, good ventilation and one-way systems. Indoor seated venues such as theatres, concert halls and cinemas will be advised to ask for approval to have a vaccination or negative test. Face coverings remain mandatory on public transport unless you are exempt. We to lift more COVID restrictions on Monday, ending social distancing in indoor settings. They will meet again on the 7th of October to discuss easing further measures. People must still wear face coverings unless they are exempt. People going to a place of worship no longer have to wear a face covering during the service, but it's still a law to wear them when entering the next building. Face coverings are no longer mandatory in many places in England, but Scotland and Wales have maintained the rules of face coverings for now as well. With Ireland, the advice remains to work from home if possible. Similar advice remains in place in Scotland, Wales and the Republic of Ireland, but people in England are no longer being asked to work from home. Legal requirement for social distancing outdoors no longer exists in Northern Ireland. It will be removed for shops, cinemas, theatres and many other indoor settings from 6 p.m. on the 30th of September. However, restaurants, cafes and pubs are still required to comply with at least a 1 metre distancing. Nightclubs in Northern Ireland are closed, but dancing is now allowed at weddings. All on table service was lifted on Friday the 10th of September. However, the requirement for people attending venues to remain seated still remains. Concerts can take place, but there are restrictions that mean people must be seated during the performance and no dancing is allowed. In August, the rule that no more than 6 people was scrapped, and 6 households could sit together was scrapped, along with the removal of table limits. Rules when the number of people allowed to meet at home still remain in place. Up to 15 people from 4 households can meet in a private home. There's no restrictions on the number of people can meet in a private building. Ministers are likely to discuss the removal of restrictions in indoor settings at their next meeting on the 7th of October. If proposals are agreed, the changes are likely to come into effect on the 14th of October. Monday the 16th of August, the rules on self-isolation changed. Close contacts, no one can self-isolate as long as they have 2 jabs. People and staff who are identified do not have to self-isolate. 15 people from no more than 4 households can stay together overnight. The past few months have seen many COVID restrictions eased after a long period of lockdown. Held last March, businesses and people have to rapidly adjust to keep their distance. Now the legal requirement for social distancing is no longer exists. Been removed for shops, cinemas, theatres and many other indoor settings. However, restaurants, cafes and pubs are still required to comply with at least 1 metre. Although face coverings are no longer mandatory, in many places in England, those rules do not apply in Northern Ireland. Instead, people must still wear them on public transport and shops unless they are exempt. While Scotland and Wales have eased more measures in recent days, they've maintained the rules on face coverings for now as well. Since July, people going to places of worship in Northern Ireland no longer have to wear face coverings during the actual service, but it's still a law to wear them while entering and exiting the building. Monday, 16th of August, the rules on self-isolation in Northern Ireland changed. Close contacts of those who test positive will no longer have to self-isolate automatically as long as 2 weeks have passed since they received their second dose of the vaccine. Hospitality faced some of the toughest restrictions during this pandemic. At the start of August, no more than 6 people from 6 households could be sit together and face coverings had to be worn when customers were not seated. However, this rule was scrapped in the middle of August, while table limits at wedding receptions were also removed. Likewise, a rule on table service only in pubs and restaurants was lifted at 5 p.m. on Friday the 10th of September. Dancing is now allowed at weddings and civil partnership receptions, but nightclubs remain closed in Northern Ireland, like those in Great Britain. Ministers have not yet given an indicative date for the reopening of nightclubs and the return of dancing and hospitality venues. So pretty much watch this space. Concerts can take place indoors, but there are restrictions that mean people must be seated during the performance, and no dancing is allowed. Rules on number of people allowed to meet at home still remain. Northern Ireland. Up to 15 people from 5 households can meet indoors. People who are fully vaccinated can meet together indoors. There's no limits on numbers. Pupils in Northern Ireland have returned to classrooms. Advised that pupils and staff who are identified as close contact of a positive case but have no symptoms themselves do not have to self-isolate. Concerns over the number of children missing class. Ministers have agreed that the system of bubbles will be removed. They decided to retain face coverings for at least the first 6 weeks of term. Scotland, pupils and teachers in secondary schools will continue to have face coverings, and the 1 metre social distancing will remain for at least the first 6 weeks of term. People in England are no longer being asked to work from home, but in Northern Ireland, advice remains to work from home where possible. Agreed to remove social distancing. So yeah. New COVID passport rules will begin in Scotland on the 1st of October. Nicola Sturgeon has said the new system will not be enforced until the 18th of October. From the 1st of October, people will need a COVID certificate to enter nightclubs. You can only get the passport if you've been fully vaccinated. Just having a negative test will not be enough. On the 11th of October, people will be able to use the NHS COVID pass to show they've been vaccinated. Northern Ireland has not yet announced a vaccination passport scheme. At 6 p.m. on the 30th of September, social distancing limits will be lifted in shops, indoor seating venues and indoor visitor attractions. Indoor seating venues such as theatres, concert halls and cinemas will be advised to ask for proof of double vaccination or a negative lateral flow test, but this is not legally enforceable. I cannot talk, so hope everyone's had a good day today. I did. Back at college again. So much work to do, so that's why I haven't been uploading for like nearly 6 days at this point. Yeah, nearly 6 days. Yeah, I've been so busy and getting bogged down with like college work. No, we have to do like monologues, we have to like print them off tomorrow, cause, yeah, we have to like perform them like next month, I think. So yeah, we've got like a month to like rehearse them and whatever, because we've got to perform them. And we've got like research like the play that we've chosen our monologues from and all that, because we're gonna like perform them like next month, I think. And we also did some like more workshops and stuff like that. Did like conflict. And yeah. Also speaking to Danny, my mate Danny, my busy buddy Danny, and I can't wait to see him again this coming Friday night, I should say. So yeah, hopefully I'll be posting. I will try and continue to post more regularly, but yeah, college has been crazy. I mean, we've only been back for like 3 weeks so far, 2-3 weeks so far, and already they're like giving us homework, a lot of homework, so don't be surprised if my upload schedules continue to be kind of all over the place and not really consistent. So yeah, that's life, that's the life of a busy college student. So yeah, so I just want to say thank you all so much for watching. If you like what you see, please feel free to leave a like, comment down below, share this video, and most importantly, subscribe to me so that you know when I upload, and also turn on the little notification bell next to the subscribe button so you get notified when I upload when I do. So this has been Claire, signing out. and saying peace out to all of my Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts, and keep on rocking, you totally awesome, amazing dudes and dudettes. And remember to always be yourself and stay yourself. So this is Claire, signing out. Peace out.